Ahoy, this is Zdenka. How to shoot in manual mode and what are the best camera settings depending on what you shoot. Yes, we will go through cheat sheet in today's video. Who won the last creative camera challenge and what is the next camera challenge? We've got lots to do. Shooting in manual mode gives you complete control over your photos. It's good to shoot in this mode if you are working in lighting conditions which are not changing, if you want to underexpose or overexpose your photos, if you are shooting something specific and you want complete control over your settings. On the other hand, there are times when you don't want to shoot in manual mode. You might want to select one of the other modes on the camera instead. For example, if the light is continuously changing, or you care only about aperture, or you care only about shutter speed and you don't care about the other settings. Aperture priority mode is useful when you want to control aperture and ISO only. Shutter speed will be selected automatically. This is great when you want to control how much focus you want in the photos, but don't have much time dealing with shutter speed. Shutter priority mode lets you control shutter speed and ISO, but aperture will be automatic. Use this if you don't care about aperture in certain situations, but want to control shutter speed. Program mode lets you control ISO only. So let's go to manual mode, explain how to set it up quickly, and expose the cheat sheet. You will be controlling three things: aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. There is one more setting which I highly recommend controlling as well, and that is white balance. If you are shooting on a sunny day, select sunny. If you are shooting an object in a shade, select shade. On a cloudy day, select overcast. Tungsten light and white fluorescent light is for indoors. Flash is for flash photography, and last one is custom. First, let's set aperture. Do you want a blurry background behind your object, or do you want everything perfectly sharp in the entire image? The lower the number is, the more blurry background you are going to get. Here's a photo with aperture f1.4 where the background is super blurry. Here is f2.8, f4, f5.6, f10, f14. The higher the number is, the more items will be sharp. Now let's set the shutter speed. Now here we have to think a bit. Is my subject moving? If the subject is moving, then I will have to use faster shutter speed. Am I gonna shoot handheld or am I gonna use a tripod? If I'm gonna use a tripod, I can shoot with a very slow shutter speed. If I'm gonna be shooting handheld, I will have to use faster shutter speed because I'm gonna be introducing camera shake. If you are taking photos of food, non-moving objects or portraits, landscapes, use 1/60th or faster. If you are at the concert, you might want to freeze the action. Use 1/125th of a second. For freezing the action, you might need to go even faster, 1/2000. For water blur, you need to go way slower, 1/15th, and use a tripod. We will go through a cheat sheet shortly to give you a better idea. Now that you have your aperture and shutter speed, it's time to select your ISO. Later on, you might still go back and tweak your shutter speed and aperture. Start by setting your ISO to its lowest value. This is generally ISO 100, but might be ISO 160 or 50, depending on your camera. Then simply point the camera and look at the exposure bar. If the bar is showing that it is underexposed, the line is on the left, you need to increase the ISO until it is in the center. If it is too much to the right, it is overexposed. If this happens when you have the lowest ISO selected, you need to either select faster shutter speed or you need to bring the aperture up until you get it in a center. If you want the blurry background, then bring up the shutter speed. If you want artistic motion blur and need slow shutter speed, then bring the aperture up. Cheat sheet is next, but before I expose it, let's have some serious talk. This video is sponsored by Aura. In 2020, 49 million Americans were a victim of identity theft. It's so common that there is a new victim every 14 seconds. Don't be the next one. It costs the average victim over $1,000. 37 billion records got hacked in 2020 alone from major social media sites, national grocery store chains, cryptocurrency exchanges, pharmacies, phone and internet providers. This is not happening just to people who fall phishing scams or use bad passwords. This means that unless you want to give up the internet, preventing your personal information from leaking could be completely out of control. That's true. Let Aura do the hard work of protecting your identity. Aura's app uses AI and machine learning to protect your identity online. You tell Aura what email address, account numbers, and phone numbers you want monitored, and their algorithms scour the dark web, data brokers, and public records and will alert you to any criminal activity fast. Aura's app also features a VPN that encrypts your browsing history and allows you to stay anonymous online, and their antivirus software that will block malware and viruses before you infect your devices. Once I opened up my own account, I got over 70 notifications, which were quite surprising to me. Try Aura free for 2 weeks and see if your personal identifiable information has leaked to the dark web. And if you already signed up with Aura, comment below how many times your personal information was found. Start your free trial at aura.com/Zdenka. Cheat sheet time. Let's look at some shooting scenarios and recommended camera settings. First one is a classic portrait with a blurry background. It is best to use lenses with wide apertures. Prime lenses are best for that, such as this 50mm lens or this 85mm lens. Use the widest aperture possible or the lowest number possible. Use shutter speed 1/60th or faster and keep your ISO between 100, maximum 400 to achieve the best result with lots of detail and no grain. Next one is Bokeh Effect. If you want to get a bokeh effect in the background, use aperture f4.0 or wider, which means lower number, shutter speed 1/60th or faster, and keep ISO between 100 to 400. To get a great result, you need to keep a bit of a space between your subject and a background, and have a source light in the background. If you will be taking photos at a concert or live event, use zoom lens with aperture at least f2.8 or lower or wider to get as much light in your camera as possible. Use 1/125th shutter speed or higher and go with ISO as low as you can. If you can get something like 700, 600, that will be great as you'll have less grain in the photos. Food photography has been discussed on this channel in the past. I'm gonna link the video in a video description. It is best to shoot in natural light close to the window, but not dark light. The light has to be soft. To get lots of detail, go with a 4 aperture or you can go a bit lower. Select 1/60th shutter speed or faster and keep your ISO as low as possible. If you're gonna be taking photos of flowers, it is best to use macro lens and tripod. To make sure all details are nicely sharp, use aperture settings between f5.6 to 11. Shutter speed should be 1/60th or faster and keep ISO as low as you can. It will be ideal to have it below 800. If you want to take a photo of an action and freeze the action, especially if the subject is moving towards you, you need to increase the aperture between f11 and 16 to make sure everything is sharp. Use fast shutter speed in 2000s and lowest ISO you can get. 100 would be ideal. On the other hand, if you want to take a photo of an emotion and you want the motion to be blurry, then you need to slow down the shutter speed, at least 1/40th. If you have a couple standing and you want the car movement blurry behind them, then you can keep aperture low at f2.8 or lower and keep the ISO as low as you can. Fireworks can be tricky to shoot. Use a tripod, choose aperture f11, keep ISO at 100, the lowest you can, and select slower shutter speed, 2 to 6 seconds. It is best to use remote or set a timer so you don't have the accidental shake by pressing the shutter button. Let's talk about landscapes. Those are usually taken with the help of a tripod. Aperture should be a bit higher to achieve lots of sharpness, f11 to f16. Keep shutter speed 1/60th or faster and use the lowest ISO you can get. When you take a shot of a sunrise or sunset, the aperture setting will be the same between f11 to f16. Keep your ISO as low as possible, ideally 100, and select shutter speed depending on how much light you are getting. You might have to try a few options there to achieve good result. Faster shutter speed will get you a darker result. Slower shutter speed will brighten it up. To get a very golden result, change white balance to shade or cloudy. When it comes to waterfalls, how do you achieve the soft, silky water? It will be all about selecting slow shutter speed. You need a tripod and ND filter as well if it is going to be bright outside. Select aperture f4. If you want the entire landscape to be very sharp, go higher, f11. Keep ISO as low as possible and select 1/30th shutter speed or slower. Most people choose something between 1 to 3 seconds. The slower it is, the softer the water is going to look. Way too slow shutter speed is just gonna look blurry. Light painting is a lot of fun, and here you will also need to use a tripod. The shutter speed should be 10 to 30 seconds to see the effect. Keep ISO 100 and select aperture f8 or 10 to get more sharpness in the shot. It's time to announce the winner of the last Creative Camera Challenge. The task was to take a series of photos from one location. And the winner is Alan Ingham. The location is Dolomite Mountains in Italy, with the highlight being the 3 peaks. Spectacular location and breathtaking photos. Some of the photos were just taken with a smartphone, Samsung Galaxy S20, and then Olympus OMD5 Mark II camera. Congratulations, you're winning $50 Amazon gift card. Alright friends, I have shown a lot of camera settings in this video to be applied and showcased. You have until October 31st, 2022 to take photos in manual mode, and any theme goes. You must share camera make, lens and camera settings with us when you upload the photos to Facebook group ZD Camera Challenge, and you can upload up to 5 photos. And as always, the winner gets $50 Amazon gift card. Give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ahoj!